It's May the 4th, which means it's Star Wars Day. So today I'm going to show you how to create lightsabers in Final Cut Pro. In Final Cut Pro, we'll just go on up into our generators and look up the custom generator. From there, we'll just drag that down onto the timeline. After that, we'll go into the generator settings and make sure it is set to white. Now that we have this generator, go ahead and push V to disable it. Then we're gonna go and locate the draw mask effect. Apply that onto the custom generator and then go ahead and find a frame where you can see the entire lightsaber. I'm gonna push M so that I know that is where my starting frame is. I'm going to click and I'll actually go ahead and just zoom in here with Command plus so that I can get a really good outline around this lightsaber. I'll go ahead and make 4 points just like so. And then I can go ahead and click and drag these to adjust them to their final position. Now that I've done that, I'll go over to the video inspector and locate the draw mask effect. At the bottom, you should see control points. Go to the right side and click to add a keyframe. With that keyframe added, we're just gonna use the arrow keys to continue to add more keyframes. So I'll push on the right arrow to move forward 1 frame and then adjust all of these control points. This can take quite a bit of time, but the end result is totally worth it. With the animation looking pretty good, we can go ahead and use my free plugin Saber. There's a link down below. It's pay what you want. Go ahead and just put $0 in the checkout if you want to download it completely for free. Once you have it installed, go ahead and look it up in Final Cut Pro. Here it is, Saber. Go ahead and apply that onto the custom layer. Going through the settings, we could dial in if we want the color type to be color gradient or outline gradient. And then we could also come down and adjust stuff like the width on all of the lines that are coming off. So I happen to like how it looks with about a line width of 4. We can adjust the position of those lines. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that as it is. And going further down, we'll locate the mode. Currently it's set to turbulent, which actually looks pretty cool, but it's not the effect I'm going for. So let's change it from turbulent over to solid line, and that'll look a little bit more lightsaber-esque. We can continue to go further down and locate stuff like the cellular opacity. I'll drag that up quite a bit, and that's going to give us a little bit of sparks coming off of the lightsaber. We could also drag up some of the caustics, and that is again also going to provide some more really cool looking sparks. So now that we have dialed in all of those settings, we need to really implement this into the scene. So we'll scroll on to the very bottom and locate the blend mode. Currently it's set to normal. Go ahead and set that to add, and that is going to give us a really nice glow in our scene. However, you might notice an issue depending on the type of sword you are working with. In here you can see some dark lines where the original sword was, and we definitely don't want that. So if you happen to run into this problem, all you need to do is duplicate that custom layer with Option, click and drag, and add it in as a layer underneath. From there, go ahead and just remove the saber effect. That is going to leave that white solid in underneath the new saber effect, thus creating a really nice looking lightsaber and getting rid of that dark background. However, you will notice another issue. This lightsaber is currently going in front of his body here when it should be behind. Now, there are several different ways you could deal with this. One way is to duplicate this underlying layer and place it on top of everything. Then using a draw mask, you could mask out his shoulder. However, because I'm really lazy, I'm going to use this amazing plugin called Keeper. I'll have an affiliate link down below. You can check it out for yourself. So loading up Keeper, I will apply it onto this clip. And you can see if I scroll through the clip, it's actually cutting out those guys relatively well. So let's go back to those first frames. And in these first frames, it's not doing a perfect job. So we'll just come on over to the right and locate the thicken slider and drag that up until the lightsaber is completely behind his body. And now we can go ahead and move forward until the lightsaber is past his body, and then I'll push Option right bracket to trim it down. So now Keeper is only being applied to those first few frames, and it cuts out the lightsaber really nicely. Now you might notice that the original sword is still appearing in these other frames. It happens to think that's part of his body. So let's just drag that thicken slider down just a bit and see if that happens to fix the issue. Now that we have the first lightsaber done, let's go ahead and create the second lightsaber. All the steps will be the same, except for we're gonna wanna change the color at the very end. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this very topmost layer layer of the lightsaber, we'll go into the draw mask settings, locate the control points, and reset that so that we can animate it on the other sword. I'm also going to go ahead and disable that topmost layer, and we'll disable the other lightsaber layer just so we can clearly see everything that we're doing. Let's go ahead and come to the marker where I started animating the first lightsaber. We can zoom in with Command plus, and then we can drag these control points into position.
One eternity later.
Once again, I got all the animation done. I'll push V to re-enable it, and we can actually start to see how this lightsaber is looking. There are a few moments where the original sword is coming through, so I'm gonna duplicate that layer, click and drag it underneath. Then we'll go ahead and remove the saber effect so that we don't see that sword anymore. After that, we can select the topmost saber layer, and I'll go ahead and change the color to whatever I like. Let's go for maybe something orange like that. And then if we back out, we can re-enable the other lightsaber, and they should be clashing just like so. So that is a quick and dirty way to add in a lightsaber in Final Cut Pro. If you wanted to go above and beyond, you could of course add in some lens flares from maybe M Flare 2. You could also add in some spark effects, maybe from Envato Elements or Pexels.com. So you could really get crazy with this particular effect and make your videos really stand out. If this video was helpful to you, consider pressing that like button, consider subscribing, and you may want to check out this video where I show you how to recreate the Ali Abdaal picture-in-picture effect using Apple Motion. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one.